This is what the Cincinnati Bengals need to do in the 2024 NFL Draft. Ryan Wilson and Chris Trapasso from With the First Pick here to give you the ultimate mock draft for the team that picks 18th. And away we go into the NFL Mock Draft Database Simulator. All right, Chris, we're at number 18. And the two names that stick out to me, Brock Bowers and Tele Fuaga. You desperately need to fix the offensive line, and you have a difference maker, probably a top 6-7 player for me, and Brock Bowers still available. You gave me a half-hearted What does that mean?
Well, because I think this is kind of an interesting situation because there's not, like, we've heard so much about the disparity between drafting a tight end in the first round. You don't get much financial savings relative to franchise players or the top of that position. I love Tele Fuaga. I would just off the surface pick him, but they did sign Trent Brown. They have Orlando Brown. Do you think he would maybe play guard as a rookie?
I think with Fuaga, who played right tackle at Oregon State, if you need to kick him inside, you can.
Early on in his career.
I think he's better than Trent Brown now. And I think the issue with Cincinnati, it hasn't been from lack of trying to protect Joe Burrow, but it hasn't worked out, and he consistently gets hurt. So scroll down, Harry, just for fun. Let's see what else we got.
Ooh,
I mean, Murphy's grand slam. I wouldn't take Amarius Mims over Fuaga.
Me neither.
It's Cooper. I mean, is Jackson Powers Johnson still there? Excuse me. Just or Graham Barton, either one of those. I don't know if those interest you more than Fuaga. I think for me, Fuaga would be number one. But if you feel differently, we can.
No, I think Fuaga, he's my OT1 in this class and would just kind of plan for the future, like you're saying, to protect Joe Burrow, which is obviously.
He's OT1. What are we doing?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's easy. All right, 49. So let's see what happens here. T. Higgins still figuring things out. Tyler Boyd is still a free agent. They do have Jamar Chase. They passed on the tight end there.
What do you think about Darius Robinson being that inside rusher for them? I mean, we have seen so many mocks with Byron Murphy, with Johnny Newton in round one, but I wonder if they would like to kind of kill two birds with one stone, to have Darius Robinson play a little edge, but then on like second and long and third and long rush from the inside.
Yeah, he's a tweener weight-wise. He ran a 4.95. You can hit that button, Harry. He is way more twitchy than that time he ran. Had a really good Senior Bowl, and I like the idea of playing him over the tackle, moving him inside over the guard, depending on the situation. And now you're cooking with gas. Next up, pick 80. And Trey Benson's sitting there. So they have Zach Moss. They moved on from Joe Mixon, who's now in Houston. Jalen Polk is there if you're looking for a little wide receiver help.
Are we of the belief that this is T. Higgins' last season in Cincinnati, right? I mean, that's kind of how I've been going through the process.
I haven't paid him yet, so you would imagine they would have. Maybe they're building the suspense, but if it's his last season, and Tyler Boyd's still gone.
A pretty big need. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they have Yashovis from last year out of Princeton. They have Charlie Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harry, can you click the receivers and just see if there's any other? Ooh, Burton's there too.
Burton's a deep threat. Jalen McMillan. I mean, I had them graded similarly.
Me too.
Which is
both the Washington receivers. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think Jalen Polk, I would lean in that direction. I think he's a little better after the catch than Jalen McMillan, and with Jamar Chase, that's clearly what they like to accentuate in that offense under Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow. I think that would be good value with Jalen Polk at pick 80.
At pick 80, 100%. All right, Harry. Next up, pick 97. Let's see. I mean, this feels like a Grand Slam draft, but every time I say that, Traps, and look at the comments, the YouTubers disagree with us, so we'll find out together. But 97, next up. Okay, so let's see. We got Darius Robinson on the inside. Safety position, they signed Von Bell. They have Geno Stone from Baltimore, who's a good player. They have Mike Hilton in the slot. DJ Turner had a pretty good rookie campaign, and then they have Cam Taylor-Britt. They're set there, but man, Jalen Wright's sitting there.
I was going to say that's your guy, and I mean they have Chase Brown, who did flash a little bit down the stretch, but to be able to build out the stable of running backs after just being able to rely on Joe Mixon for so long, just that steady feature guy, Jalen Wright, 97, that feel to me, someone that kind of really devalues running back in the draft. I feel like that's good value for him. Close to pick 100.
97, it feels right. Between picks 80 and 97, maybe when you start thinking about a running back in this draft class. He's more explosive than Joe Mixon. He's probably not as strong a runner as Joe Mixon, but if you like the explosiveness in this offense, and Dan Kitchens I've only heard great things about what he's going to do with this offense. Make that happen, Harry.
All right. What about targeting next? Maybe tight end. I know they signed Mike Gesicki in free agency. They have Drew Sample there, the second rounder, but there's Rick's guy, Ben Sinnott, who I like a lot too. You love Theo Johnson. I wouldn't hate either one of those two as
Let's
fourth
go
rounders.
Ben Sinnott. Ben Sinnott's my tight end too. I like Theo Johnson just because Rick Spielman likes to crap on him. So yeah. Oh my gosh.
Look at this draft.
I dare anyone to push back on this draft.
Yeah, they can, especially coming from a Steelers and a Bills guy.
Yeah, for real. Good Lord, they have 50 picks, Harry. What are we doing? All right, 149 next up. Let's look for interior offensive line help.
I was thinking the same.
Yeah, let's see what's at the top, and then we'll go. So Isaiah Mason McCormick's there. I like him. Bortolini actually like a little better, I think. Scroll down just a hair, Harry. Delmar Glaze is a good player.
I like Glaze.
I'll defer to you, Traps. Either any direction we can go. Bortolini gives you some versatility, center guard. I think McCormick, the hope is that the same will happen with him. Delmar Glaze is a Maryland puts out offensive line.
They do. They do. And I think Lamia from Utah is fun for me on film. That college tackle, he's probably bumping inside the guard, really physical, really aggressive. I like him quite a bit. I like him or Delmar Glaze, unless we think that they really want to address center more with Bortolini, because Ted Karras he's not in the last season of his career, but he's kind of getting into the twilight there, kind of past his prime. So either one of those three I'd be fine with.
I like Glaze a little more than Lamia. Actually, I have him as a late day 2 guy, which is something else. All right, let's do Glaze.
It's a good offensive tackle class, yeah.
Yeah. And Delmar, I believe, was at the Senior Bowl, right?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a fun watch.
So where are we at now? What pick?
So we are now on pick 194, 4 to go. And let's see, best player available. So you have Aeneas Smith, returnability. You have Jalen Simpson. I'm not a huge Mustafa guy, but you may feel differently. You don't need a running back. I mean, I would actually think about Tanner Bortolini here too.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's double dip on the offensive line just to address on the interior, just because obviously Joe Burrow being protected is more important than anything else. So actually 3 offensive linemen, which I like.
Yeah, I mean, this worst case scenario for a Steelers fan. So Curtis Jacobs there, he's one of these, I don't want to call him Johnny come lately, but Penn State's had a history recently of these athletic linebackers that have underachieved for me. The exception being, of course, Micah Parsons. But they had the kid that went to Carolina a few years ago.
Brandon Smith, yeah.
Thank you, Brandon Smith. So Curtis Jacobs is here if you're looking for some athleticism, special teams wise. Let's see what we got going on. They have Jermaine Pratt.
What about another D lineman?
I'm fine with that. So what
else?
else?
BJ Hill. We draft Darius Robinson, who's kind of a tweener. Gabe Hall is kind of another tweener that would maybe be interesting. Would kind of be like some of the interior players they've drafted in the past. Do you like Gabe Hall?
Yeah, no, I'm fine at this point in the conversation. Any of these guys, the top 4 guys, I like Marcus Harris more than most people, but Gabe Hall certainly checks the box for me. So, yep, Gabe Hall.
Pass rush ability with them too. Okay, 2 final picks, 224 and 237. So maybe here is you were referencing maybe linebacker just for some depth behind.
I like Tyrese Knight a lot, and I like Tyron Hopper even better if we're looking for just some special teams athleticism.
Either one of those two, obviously you have the 2 entrenched starters, but getting some depth behind them wouldn't hurt, especially this late in the draft, right? 2 athletic guys that are maybe not the best play ideas, but just in terms of see ball, get ball, those 2, Knight and Hopper, are both really good in that regard.
Yeah, and I'm thinking special teams at this point. They have Akeem Davis-Gaither on the roster as well, but Tyron Hopper for me, Harry, is one of my favorite players that we haven't spent a lot of time talking about. All right, one more pick here.
Last pick. Let's see all here. Who do we?
This might be a situation where producer Harry gets to pick the long sniper he likes best. Got so many picks. Tip Ryman, I like out of Illinois.
I like him. He's a good blocker and he's pretty athletic. What about Dominique Hampton? Just because of his athleticism,
we can get one in the back end.
I think he's one of those. Yeah, he's one of those like 5th or 6th year guys, but tested really well. Had a good season. Dominique Hampton sounds good.
Yeah, that's
look at that A+. How many A+ did we have there? Like 5, I think.
I mean,
we had 50 picks, but
looking forward to the negative comments on this one. Those are Steelers fans pretending to be Bengals fans. Talise Fuaga at the top. Tully's going to be the starter at right tackle. Even if he isn't, you can move him inside. Darius Robinson gives you some versatility along the defensive line in round 2. Jalen Polk begins the process of rebuilding the wide receiver room. And then Jalen Wright, oh my gosh, I mean, what are we doing here? Just crushing it. Ben Sennett, another playmaker, tight end out of Kansas State. He compares himself to Sam Laporta. And you get 2 more offensive linemen to bolster that room. Add some help on defense and special teams, and that is your draft there. How many picks total was that, Harry? That was like 50 picks, wasn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 picks. Is that right? Those are 10 solid picks. As you said, Traps A++. That wraps up the Perfect Bengals draft class. Make sure to subscribe to NFL and CBS on YouTube and download the With the Perfect podcast wherever you get your podcast. Stay tuned for more Ultimate Mock Drafts because we're hitting all 32 teams.